On the program today, we look at how diversification in the agriculture sector is becoming a reality through the Zambia Agribusiness and Trade Project here in Lusaka. We get into Zambia relating with China, and this time on a tourism note. And the PMRC is going to be hosting the Zambia China Forum, which is going to be held later this week in realization of how Zambia can maximize from the FOCAC that was held last year. These and more details on the program. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Business Day and I am Judy Ngulube. We start off on an agriculture note. In the 7th National Development Plan, the emphasis on agriculture has been diversification. But how is this being realized? What stakeholders are taking those steps to make this a reality? The Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry are one of those ministries that are helping to do this. They are doing this via the Zambia Agribusiness and Trade Project. This project is actually seeing a lot of farmers as well as cooperatives being funded to make sure that some of those limitations that they have as farmers are met. The Permanent Secretary, Kayula Siame, was at the inaugural ceremony for Producers Organization's check awarding event, where she met the people who are receiving these funds, the first batch of them. There was a good number of people involved in livestock, those involved in aquaculture, and I spoke to some of them.
My name's Cyrus Mfula. I'm representing United Aquaculture Cooperative. This cooperative is located in Choma, Southern Province. We are fairly new, but we've made some very positive strides in terms of fish farming within the district. Everything else, I think, in terms of agriculture is speaking aquaculture. Besides it being a source of very nutritious food, which everybody needs, there is also very tangible profits that you can make out of the business of fish. We have a deficit as a country. We're not able to meet the fish demand. And so often than not, we'll be importing fish from even as far as China to augment the deficit that is there. So this is one area that offers a real opportunity in terms of agribusiness. There are companies, off-takers, that are ready to buy the fish as you harvest. I once had all my fish cleared right at the pond before I could even freeze it. So this is the kind of demand that we are having to try to satisfy. So we have received 382,000, if I'm not mistaken. But this is a matching grant, so the total budget is about 552. So we've been able to raise the rest. We hope to hit the ground running. We have already an implementation plan. So we are going to look at, first of all, storage issues, because fish, as you know, is a very delicate product. You need to harvest and immediately freeze it so that you can then market it properly.
I'm Prudence Mazra from Magwe Chabota Cooperative, goat rearing, buying and selling.
I'm Felicitas Hampongo from Magwe Chabota Cooperative, goat rearing, buying and selling. I'm the charity.
Timagura mbuzi, no gulisa, no sunga panyumba. Then tujatubana, na teve tujatubana tumachito gulisa. Kubantu bali bonse, amene bafuna, bonse tumapasa. Kaitina ma benefits ya mene tipeza mu cooperative, pamene tinayamba kusunga mbuzi zija, tinayamba ugulisa, after tuagulisa zija ndalama, kunabwera ifisipu, i fisipu timachita ati nga kwankala kuma end ya ye za ndarama timachita contribute farmers tuvapasa 200 eva pasa 200 yankala 400 so that once kwa
tachitako benefits
information tunachosa kuli ba Ministry of Commerce ku district vanati uzati kuzabwera balendo ba ZATIP Mumonze district ku Southern Province vanasanga 5 district kuli Livingstone, Choma, Monze, Mazabuka and what?
It's like 4. It's 4 districts.
Then vanatwitana pamene vanabwera va ZATIP tinakana na meeting ku youth project
ku Monze.
Ero vachita introduce project pamene after vachita introduce project vanabwera ku cooperative yathu iso kumagweye chavota ero vayangana mwamene tumasevenzera. After that, from ku district, vanakamba timanje vayamba kuchita apply. Isenaise tinakala na interest yo chita apply. Izi ndrama tinapangana kudala po chita apply. Zinangu ndrama zienda pa cooperative to improve the cooperative yeve ifunika ikaende mumwamba. But zinangu zaenda kuma household ngayafika kuma household na kweve kuja kuma household timachita monitor zija mbuzi ni zake agura mbuzi na ndrama kuchoka umu ero iza mbuzi zayamba ati ngayafika ntao yo gurisa iwereta tumuzi twako ugurise kuno kaise bulking center magweye chavota so after agurisa zija ndrama tuzampasa straight ni zake zonse apeleke kunyumba yake but kuli ndrama za cooperative na even cooperative ingatochita twapeza tuma profit timagabana but tufunika yeve cooperative zienda.
Congratulations to all those farmers and cooperatives who have benefited from that project, and hopefully they will put those to good use. Now, the beneficiaries were actually selected through a very highly competitive as well as rigorous process. The permanent secretary did actually talk about how the project aims to provide beneficiary support. Now, the total number of these beneficiaries, the individual farmers, get to 4,500, and for the organizations, it's about 180 producers. Now, this is a total number that the Ministry of Commerce hopes to see by the year 2022. This is also what the Permanent Secretary added to this occasion.
So I hope you will not just look and say, okay, we've got money and now our challenges have been dealt with. No, I think it's a holistic approach. It's all about managing the business adequately. Looking at the books, keeping records, and so on and so forth, increasing the productive capacity, because if you don't increase the productive capacity, then you're not able to make money and you're not able to create wealth. So what we're trying to do is be a catalyst for you to create that wealth, and that's what this grant that we're giving you is really about. So we're really excited that we can start the process today. I think you're the first 5 that we're starting with on this program under the Zambia Agribusiness and Trade Project to ensure that we meet the requirements of our SMEs in the agric sector. So we will be handing over the checks to you today. Of course, to be the big check, but the real check will be still going into the account, and we'll be requiring good and constant interaction. I think that's what is important. Because if you face a problem or an obstacle, please don't wait and say they will come and see when they come and then we'll tell them we have a problem. No, I think you have in your districts, you know who our facilitators are, you know our cooperative officers, so you know the Ministry of Commerce officials. So at any time you can you can speak to them or you can meet with them and see what challenges you face. Because facing challenges is part of the business process, so don't think it's something which is unique. Each business will face challenges, but I think what is important is how do you deal with those challenges? And the key thing is not to sit back and let it run, but always to try and find a solution. And sometimes you may not be able to find a solution on your own, but you can come, discuss with those who can also support you in trying to find that solution. So we'd like to ensure that you look at us as the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry, as a ministry that is there to support you, to help you grow your business so that you increase the wealth for yourselves and also for your communities. Because if you are doing well as cooperatives, then you know the communities within which you are in are also going to do well. And then, of course, that will trickle to your district and into the country. So we are looking at that whole picture, and we know that it has a ripple effect because you will be employing people. The people you'll be employing will also be having an income. Maybe some of them will also want to start their businesses, but at least they'll be able to meet their requirements, whether it's education, health, or be able to ensure that they have a good livelihood for themselves and their families. So you can see that it's not just the cooperatives and so on that will benefit, but the benefits, I think, spill out much, much wider than the cooperatives themselves.
Thank you so much for still watching Business Day. We get into issues of policy research, a very vital component for most developing countries and Zambia inclusive. FOCAC is that event that happens every 3 years, alternatively in China as well as Zambia. Last year, we did see Zambia benefit a lot from the FOCAC, including projects such as honey trade between Zambia and China. China demanding a lot of honey from Zambia, and I'm sure a lot of people who are involved in the honey business can attest to this one. Now, the PMRC has seen that FOCAC is one of those avenues that can be very beneficial not only to the think tank itself, but also to Zambia's growing economy. In this vein, they have actually organized a China-Zambia forum, which will look into matters of how they can maximize from the FOCAC before it actually happens. We did catch up with their executive director, Bernadette Zulu, who told us what this is all about, how it's going to happen, and what benefits really is Zambia going to get from the pre-forum before FOCAC.
So the Africa-China Think Tank Forum is a PMRC initiative that was birthed from a discussion between ourselves and a visiting think tank from China at that time, which was last year in 2018. And we said to the Chinese government through the CPC to say, China always has a position when going to FOCAC. And China has this great initiative, which is the Belt and Road Initiative. And then meanwhile, Africa, we are being regrouped. We've regrouped ourselves as Africa and not looking at ourselves as countries within Africa that are homogeneous and not as a whole Africa, because we have Zambia in it, we have Ethiopia, we have Uganda, we have Nigeria, all these countries, just like China falls under Asia. So, but then loving the cooperation between China and Africa, so we thought, how best can we advise our governments as think tanks? So we gave this initiative and said, let's call on all African think tanks, those that are available to participate, come together as a forum. We, in collaboration with and partnership with the Chinese government through the Chinese embassy in Zambia. And so they are co-sponsors of this upcoming forum. Yeah, so the Belt and Road Initiative is very, very important because that is the initiative that was birthed 5 years ago by China itself and is linking about 65 countries world over. And this is Asia, Europe, all the way, opening transcontinental transportation all the way to North Africa. And Zambia is not really part of the roads that is being linked, but then it is definitely going to be a partaker of what the Belt and Road Initiative aspirations are going to bring if we are going to be clever. And how do we become clever? By advising government to really see the opportunities that are in the Belt and Road Initiative. And how do you do that? Bring together a forum where China think tanks and African think tanks are going to be a part of. The Belt and Road Initiative being an open door for infrastructure, for ICTs, for trade, and opening also for our continental free trade area, which is now happening for the African countries. So there are a lot of opportunities that we could actually get from, and then our forum seeks to actually provide a space where we can actually draw recommendations and draw a lot of advice from our friends that are coming to participate from China itself.
Okay. So I know this forum is all about, trying to get more from the FOCAC, but how do Zambians maximize on this initiative?
Yeah. So if you've noticed, the first step which was great in maximizing these opportunities from FOCAC especially, and the Belt and Road Initiative and the $60 billion US dollars that was committed in the last FOCAC in Beijing. The President of the Republic of Zambia did sign Zambia, and it was actually one of the last, if not the last, to actually pen the signature to this initiative, and we would have actually lost out. So the first step was that. So now it gives opportunity for the economic stakeholders at large to actually push the country into maximizing what we can get from it. Hence this forum. Now this forum will provide space for us to actually see, to see what is in the Belt and Road, what we can get out of. It's a forum that, that will provide space for us to learn, to say, okay, from this road, from the Gulf going to perhaps is it Egypt or Liberia, what are the opportunities for Zambia in there? Is it copper export? Is it what? What is it that we have as a country that we can offer? So that is now coming also stemming from infrastructure, going also into trade.
Is that what our viewers should expect, from this Africa-China Forum?
Our viewers should expect that Zambia will never be the same again after this, because we would have come to a drawdown of picking what can revamp and grow our economy. Because we cannot have all these initiatives and then we do not take advantage of them. So taking advantage of them at a time such as this, when we have been slowed down with the debt situation and debt restructuring, these are the opportunities that we ought to go for and maximize. Because now, as a sovereign country, as we are powerful as a country, we ought to utilize our sovereignty and power in able to retain what we can get from these kind of collaborations and cooperations. The connectivity of the Belt and Road Initiative can make Zambia really get out of the situation that we are in. And with the coming in of experts and other think tanks that are here in Zambia, the Economic Association of Zambia, ZIPA, and a lot other stakeholders that will participate, including government itself. So this is a take home for every Zambian citizen, knowing that the economic sphere is about to take a shift.
Thank you so much for still watching Business Day. The tourism sector is another that Zambia has actually identified as one of those sectors that can help diversify its income generation as a country from mining, in particular copper, into tourism that can gain the country some revenue. In regards to tourism, The government of Zambia and China have actually designed the 2019 as a culture year for the two countries. Zambia has realized that they have relations with China on a social and economic basis, but they want to tap into China's population that is coming into Africa to maximize on it in benefits of tourism. Recently, the Minister of Tourism and Arts, Honorable Dr. Charles Banda, traveled to China in order to officially launch the 2019 Zambia-China Cultural Year, which took place in the Chinese capital, Beijing. But this was not all about culture. It went into business as well as the socio-economic benefits for the two countries. China has a record of 150 million outbound tourists into 2019. For the Ministry of Arts, they see this as a benefit that Zambia can tap into. Recently, Zambia has been growing not only its local tourism potential, but also its international one. Let's get details of what happened.
20 national parks with 36 game management areas, and we have all the big fives. I mean, all the big fives that you can mention. So I'm only hoping that the minister will one day decide to come to Zambia and possibly visit one of the national parks and the Victoria Falls as well. And also to inform you that we are doing everything possible for China to ensure that we ease access into Zambia by way of putting the right procedures for visa collection for all those tourists that would want to come to Zambia. Minister, Your Excellencies, distinguished invited guests, I wish to reaffirm Zambia's commitment to the ideals and aspirations of the cultural exchange programs. In Zambia, we do believe and acknowledge that a world devoid of cultural significance is a void in habitancy. We also cherish cultural diversity because we know that it is only through the recognition and respect for each other or for each people's cultural values that we can effectively develop our nation and the world as a whole. We believe that this is the best way to push forward the friendship our sister countries continue to enjoy. Minister, Your Excellencies, distinguished invited guests, as I conclude, allow me to once again, on behalf of my delegation, and indeed on my own behalf, thank our host country and organizers of this event for a well-organized and entertaining cultural spectacle. We are all very, very grateful and look forward to a productive and enriching stay here in Beijing. CCA, thank you very much.
That there wraps up our program for today. Thank you so much for having stayed with us. Join us next week again for more business information. On behalf of the entire Business Day crew, I am Judy Ngulube.